Usually it's happening at the hands of people who come from far more distant alien cultures. And that's what's been angering the public. And the public has been saying that we have no place to live, yet you put them in these 5-star hotels or 4-star hotels while we are struggling to put food on the table. It doesn't mean that you can just jump on a little dinghy and then you can go wherever you want to go and then say, hey, sorry, look after me. You got to give me food. You got to give me a mobile phone. You got to give me residence. No society works like that. It's not a humanitarian issue. There are literally hundreds of videos where these foreign-born men are harassing the local women. I just don't understand. In 1962, John F. Kennedy said that those who make peaceful revolution impossible will create violent revolution inevitable. And this is panning out in the streets of Europe, starting with Northern Ireland, and probably in Main Island too. So I'm sure by now you all would have heard of these recent riots in Northern Ireland, in Ballymena, I believe the place is. I'll just tell you what basically happened. And again, I'm not condoning this behavior. I am simply commenting on it and reporting on it. So the recent riots in Northern Ireland, particularly in Ballymena, were triggered by the alleged sexual assault of a teenage girl on June 7, 2025. Two 14-year-old Romanian boys were charged with attempted rape and appeared in court on the 9th of June, utilizing a Romanian interpreter. This detail sparked xenophobic reactions, leading to violent unrest targeting immigrant communities, especially those of Eastern European descent. Now, why is that happening? Again, I'm not defending that. I'm not condoning this behavior. But when you keep gaslighting the native population, when you stop listening to their concerns, and when you keep dumping fighting-age men from alien cultures. Now, the Romanian culture is not that different. This time it happened to be Romania, but what's been happening in Germany, what's been happening in France, Britain, and even in Ireland, usually it's happening at the hands of people who come from far more distant alien cultures. And that's what's been angering the public. And the public has been saying that we have no place to live, yet you put them in these 5-star hotels or 4-star hotels while we are struggling to put food on the table. Actually, you know what? You don't have to hear me. Let me just play some Irish people. So have a listen to this lady.
What is your problem with the immigrants coming in?
The problem with the immigrants coming in is they're undocumented.
By the way, these are not immigrants. The traditional definition of immigrants is like your country is facing a shortage of doctors or nurses. So your immigration department advertises certain positions. Say, we need 1,000 doctors. So qualified doctors in third world countries like India or Pakistan or Bangladesh or wherever, they say, okay, we are doctors. We want to move to your country because it's a developed country. We want to move there. And then you interview them. They have to give you police reports. They have to give their health reports. They have to show you their qualifications. Then they have to sit an exam to prove that they are capable doctors. And then these governments give them a visa. And then they move to these countries. That's how immigration has always worked. That's how I moved to Australia. It doesn't mean that you can just jump on a little dinghy and then you can go wherever you want to go and then say, hey, sorry, look after me. You got to give me food. You got to give me a mobile phone. You got to give me residence. No society works like that. It's not a humanitarian issue. What kind of diseases these people are bringing in? You know, if you want to permanently move to Canada or any other developed country, you have to give your medical reports. You don't carry any contagious diseases or diseases like HIV. That's the purpose behind it, but you don't know anything about that. That's why when people like Trump say that, oh, they have emptied their prisons, they have released their mental patients into our countries. Yes, that is technically a true statement. If these things did not matter, then why do we ask for incoming immigrants to give us character references, police reports that you have no criminal record, medical reports? Why? It's to ensure that the immigration is in the benefit of the host country. It's not a humanitarian issue. Yes, then you have a small quota of people who are being persecuted in their home countries, like, for example, ex-Muslims in Muslim countries, or Ahmadis, or Hindus, or homosexuals, for example. That number has always been in the few hundreds. That's how it has always been. And that was not only limited to fighting-age men. You see a lot of women come. For example, Rahaf Mohammed, if you remember. She was a famous ex-Muslim girl who escaped Saudi Arabia back in 2021 or 2022. We all campaigned for her, and then she settled in Canada. There was a Christian woman, Asia Bibi. She was accused of blasphemy. She spent 10 years in prison in Pakistan over an alleged blasphemy case. And after international pressure, when she came out, Canada took her in. And France, by the way, did not take her in because France said that, ooh, we don't want to upset our Muslim community in France. Even Emmanuel Macron met her in person. Even then, he didn't take her in. Now, those are genuine refugees, not these people. Now you understand. So let's have a listen to what this lady has to say.
What is your problem with the immigrants coming in?
The problem with the immigrants coming in is they're undocumented and illegal. The Irish people can't afford these undocumented male. There's no women, there's no children, it's just men. And then we have also the economic migrants coming in as well. We can't afford it. We have nowhere to put them. The Irish people have nowhere to live.
I mean, many people would say that it's a racist thought, etc., to be saying that. Is it?
No, it's definitely not. We have lots and lots of people here, diverse from everywhere in the world. There's no problem with those people. They have jobs, they come, they work, they make their whole life here.
It's such a profound point because Western countries have been open to immigration pretty much since the end of the Second World War. These issues have never appeared on this scale. Why? You can't just label everyone that you're a far right-wing, white supremacist, racist bigot. You can't just shut down people like that. Of course, you've tried it. These politicians have been trying it for the last 5-10 years, and look how that is panning out. These countries did not have a history of riots. These are high-trust societies. And look what's happening. I'm not specifically talking about Northern Ireland, but I'm talking about Britain. These things were unheard of 10, 15 years ago, and people were somehow managing it. And racism had been constantly going down. I've heard of Paki bashing in the 80s or the 90s. I've heard about it, but there was no Paki bashing in the late 90s or the 2000s. People were becoming more and more tolerant. When I moved to Australia, I had heard that Australia is one of the most racist countries. When I came at the age of 19, I'd never experienced racism. White people are the least racist people. Yet, these far left, tree-hugging, pathologically altruistic wokies, they keep gaslighting their own people. It's not going to end well. It's just not going to end well. I've always said it, that no culture has let itself to be replaced peacefully. It just doesn't happen.
Talking about is unvetted, undocumented male migrants between 20 and 35 years of age. There's nothing for them to do. There's nowhere for them to go. They're going to be put in tents at the moment, and it's costing us millions per day for the ones who are in hotels. Our own people have nowhere to live. Our own people are on the streets, in tents.
Let me give you a visual depiction of what she's talking about. Look at this. Tent city located in the middle of Dublin.
Oh my God, folks,
Look at this.
look. It's down the whole way. It's the whole way. Oh my God. Look at it. The whole lot.
Look at that.
Whole lot. More and more men every single day. All the way around the iPass building. Every single day. Look at that. That's going right down to the end of the road. On both streets.
Former nursing home. What happened to all the elderly who were in that nursing home? What happened to them? Where are the women and children? Where are the women and children? Who are these men? How old are they?
And fucking Ireland. Look, where are they all gonna go? They all gonna run up another mountaintop ready? That is disgraceful, that is.
That is scary,
Look at
not
that.
just disgraceful. That is scary. The families who live here, and then you see these fighting age men walking around. They can easily form gangs. No wonder crime is going up. Sexual violence is going up.
This is the second load. The second load of people that are coming out in the last half an hour.
Another tent city located in a former hospital. Look at this. What is this? Why? Just why? Why can't you round them up and send them back? What's this? International protection applicants, IPA, male applicants presenting 8,017. 3,000 people are awaiting offer of accommodation. So when people see this, just hand on heart, just ask yourself, if you see this, no matter where you live in Melbourne, Sydney, London, Paris, wherever you live, you see these thousands of men coming in, huge numbers, being dumped in your tiny neighborhoods, And then all of a sudden you see sexual crime starts going up, stabbings start going up. How are you meant to feel about that? I don't care about the color of the skin. Nobody would care about the color of your skin. Any man's first and foremost responsibility is to protect and provide for his family. And when he sees that his family members are scared to go out, how are you supposed to feel? What are you supposed to do? And then this happened. This Romanian incident happened. Look at this. YouTube, there is no violence shown in this video. Look at this. These people are acting out. You see thousands of men from alien cultures getting dumped in your neighborhoods. Crime goes up. Local girls get sexually assaulted. This is what's going to happen. It's inevitable. I just don't understand why is it so difficult to understand for some of these politicians. And look at this. Look how the BBC is portraying it. Have a listen to this clown woman. Look at this. Gaslighting. That is their best tool. Gaslight their own people.
Well, I think what we're seeing in Ballymena is basically a very...
Judging by her accent, I think she lives in a very posh, gated community in England somewhere. She doesn't get to see hundreds of fighting age men being dumped in her posh neighborhood. So she has the luxury of speaking like this. I'd love to see how she would feel when one of her family members gets stabbed or assaulted in any other form. I don't want to see that. I'm just saying figuratively. I'm just saying your perception changes. I have a saying that everyone is awoke until they get mugged or raped. Everyone's woke until then. But listen to this clown.
A dangerous development, not least because we live at a time when populists, nationalist populists, are using social media to exploit events like this to whip up more discord and more violence. You've seen that in America. The playbook is being brought over to Europe quite deliberately by political parties or political extremists. So it's certainly very concerning. And it also underscores the stresses that are really bubbling in the UK today, both politically and economically. And they, of course, they're very entwined.
See how she gaslit those people? Did not mention about crime going up, sexual violence going up, stabbings going up. Nothing. Everywhere we look at, sexual violence by foreign-born illegal migrants is through the roof. Have a look at this. Now, these are German government's own statistics. So in Germany, Afghans and Africans make up 34% of those implicated in gang rapes compared to 1% of the population. This is an outrageous statistic. This alone should cause a revolution. This alone should make sitting ministers and chancellors and prime ministers and ministers resign. Look at this. They make less than 1% of the population, yet they account for 34% of all the gang rapes in Germany. Every normal German woman you speak to, other than, of course, the blue-haired Wokistanis, every normal German woman you speak to would tell you how terrified she is to go out at night, even during the day. There are literally hundreds of videos where these foreign-born men are harassing the local women. I just don't understand.
Also, wir sind gerade in Bamberg und gucken mal kurz hinter uns. So, da seht ihr ja diese Mois. Okay, wir laufen weiter. Komm. Erzähl.
Die Leute im Hintergrund. Wir haben gerade Bilder hier am Wasser gemacht.
Die sind direkt hinter uns und gucken in die Kamera.
Laufen uns die ganze Zeit hinterher. Wir haben Bilder gemacht und der eine hat einfach seine Hose, Samtunterhose runtergezogen hat und seinen Schwanz gezeigt.
Wollte sagen,
Bilder mit uns zusammen machen.
einfach
Und
nur.
hat seine Hose nicht wieder hochgezogen.
Wie eklig. Sorry, aber wie eklig. So, ja, man sieht Brüste. Wow. Was ist das?
Und sagt zu uns doch, dass wir die Brüste einpacken sollen.
So hackt's, Alter.
Now, that was just Afghan and Africans. Overall, it's still not looking good for foreign-born men. In Germany, foreigners account for 67% of those implicated in gang rape versus for 12% of the total population. So 88% Germans are partaking in 33% of gang rapes, whereas 12% foreigners are taking the lion's share, which is 67%. That is outrageous. And now you heard that woke woman trying to gaslight ordinary Irish people who have to live with this nonsense, with these pathetic decisions by the UK government. Now, let's have a listen to how an ordinary Irishman sees this.
Riots in Ireland again. Petrol bombs, homes on fire, police battered, and we're supposed to act shocked. You flood working class areas with unchecked immigration, ignore every single local concern, then cry, how did this happen?
Oh.
People snap. Mate, it's not a mystery. It's basic cause and effect. But go on, blame the protesters, blame the Irish public, blame everyone except for the politicians who opened the floodgates and for the media who call you a bigot for noticing. This isn't about race, it's about reality. People are done being dumped on, shouted down, and told to smile when their towns turn into holding bays for the next diversity win. And don't give me the usual bleeding heart nonsense. If one more politician says this isn't who we are, no, love, it's exactly who you are. Arrogant, detached, and nowhere near the areas you are destroying. You lot lit the fire. The riots, that's just the smoke finally showing. But go on, keep pretending this is all just spontaneous hatred. Keep gaslighting the public while pretending your asylum hotel in every town strategy is going brilliantly. Spoiler alert, it's not just Ireland that's running out of patience. People in Britain are watching closely.
Germany and France
when
too.
Things start to crack here too, don't say no one warned you.
Now, obviously, I'm not condoning this behavior. We don't want law and order to break down. It's going to be ugly for everyone, including for people who look like me. But the governments and these politicians are causing this. I put the blame on these woke politicians who keep refusing to listen to their own people. You know, some non-Irish people in Ireland were saying that, oh, we are really scared, and some people are thinking about seriously moving. And you know what Irish people were saying underneath? Good. It means it works because the politicians are not going to listen to us. So maybe we have to intimidate them. We have to scare everyone out. That's what the politicians are doing. Now, obviously, that is not a pretty sight, but that's what happens. When you do something as pathetic as this, put thousands of fighting age men and dump them in tiny neighborhoods.